Okay. So, what is good, peeps? It's your boy Conarly back with another video. So, today I'm joined with the one, the only Natasha BarShalom. What's up, Natasha?
Hi.
Natasha is Vice President and Director of Communications for Risk Taker Youth Initiative.
Woo-woo.
She's also a community advocate, entrepreneur, author, storyteller, organizer whose work connects mental health awareness, homeless outreach, housing advocacy, youth mentorship, and creative community programming.
Well,
You be doing some stuff.
what quite the introduction.
Yes. So, before anything, how have you been? How's life been?
I have been great.
That's what's up.
I have been great. Woke up today, blessed, could feel God's presence, a lot of divine alignment happening, and just really in a space of gratitude.
That's what's up. All right. So I guess before we get into all the cool stuff, let's learn a little bit about you. Let's learn about your background, how you got into nonprofit, why you're such a big advocate for taking care of Denver's homeless community or unhoused community. What drove your passion? What started all of this?
A shit ton of trauma. I call myself a saturated girl, but I wear it as my armor. I am a daughter to Darlene and David. We are originally from Van Nuys, California, big 818 energy. I have a sister that is 2 years younger than me and a brother that is about 13 years younger than me. Grew up with mom and dad in the household, a lot of love, definitely were provided for, but there was definitely trauma within my parents that kind of bled through. It wasn't spotlighted, right? We didn't really know it existed at that time growing up, but as time went on, you start to realize as you get older and you start acknowledging your own emotions that there was some projecting and unhealed wounds, especially on my dad's side. My dad is one of three boys. My mom is one of three girls. My dad's mother is a runaway from the South, was raised in poverty, and a lot of trauma. My dad's dad committed suicide when he was a younger boy, about 4 years old. Again, my grandmother was a runaway from the South. She left the South when she was 13 and ended up in California. She changed her identity. She went through a name change. She married my grandfather, Jose, which is a Hispanic male, and tried her best, but I think her trauma bled through to my dad and my uncles. And then as I got older, I started to realize that it bled through to our family. So I've always been kind of a very emotional, in-tuned girl, even at a young age. But as I got older, I started reaching, and I guess I was considered a rebel. Ended up in a relationship with someone that was 12 years older than me. He's from Watts, California, the PJs. And that's where I really was able to learn the significance in mental stability, and that day-to-day life and the way we carry ourselves does have a domino effect. And it's really important that we try to the best of our ability as people to be centered and eliminate distractions, because you end up being put into a corner, and you tiptoe with the enemy when you're in survival mode, and it kind of just took over. There's a long story. I don't want the whole interview to be my testimony, but just to kind of let the audience know, I've experienced infertility. I've gone through 8 pregnancies. I have no children. I've had a stillbirth, 2 ectopic pregnancies with ruptured fallopian tubes, which turned into being told I could not have kids, and a partial hysterectomy. I am a widow. I was in a relationship for about 15 years. By law, common law marriage is what we carried. We never went and got the government involved in our love story, but we loved each other deeply. Long live Phil Weaver. And yeah, every ounce of trauma that exists, from mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, houselessness, I've experienced by the grace of God. Drugs have never been my thing, but I've lost a lot of loved ones to substance abuse. And when you lose a partner of 15 years, it hits home, especially when Phil had a substance problem. He died of alcohol. And
Remo, calm down, bud. Calm down. Give me this. Sit down. Go sit down. Go. Calm down. Go. Sorry.
It's okay. He passed away from alcohol in 2018. It wasn't even a month after I made a decision to choose myself. We ended up getting custody of his son, Phil Jr. And I think that's when I realized how deep my wounds were with experiencing infertility. Not blaming him completely for the infertility, but there was some things that we experienced within our relationship that didn't help with what I was going through already, with trying to carry pregnancies all the way through. And when we got custody of his son, there was something in my spirit that told me to walk away from the relationship, which really caught me off guard, because I never even considered leaving that relationship, but I did. I walked away, and within a month, he was no longer here. He passed away. So I learned a lot through that passing, and I've come out on the other side. I surrendered. The weight got too heavy, and I gave it to the Lord, and I really just allowed myself to unravel and step into discernment and obedience, because the way I was trying to lead things for myself were kind of putting me in a circle of just reliving the same trauma with different vessels. And it just got to a point where I had to make a change. So during the time of Phil passing, I was booming in my work career. I was an energy broker, selling electricity to deregulated states, and I also was involved in the startup of a solar installation company. I ended up moving to Medellin, Colombia, soon after Phil passed away, and that changed my life. Between the environmental change, acknowledging the trauma existed, and experiencing great loss, I really learned what the quality of life meant. Being in a third world country where there's not this energy of what we have and chasing the bag and keeping up with a certain lifestyle. It was more so about being with your loved ones and family, and being present is really what I felt while living in Colombia. I was supposed to be out there for a 5-year work visa, but COVID happened. So I ended up coming back to the States after 2 years. And I kid you not, Conarly, the second I got back to the States, I went from pure bliss, waking up, feeling God's presence without having to reach for it, just overwhelmed with determination and excitement about being alive, to instant depression when getting back home. And that's when it really hit me that in Colombia, there was no emotional attachment to anything. There was no triggers. I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I didn't even know the common language out there. So I was focused more on action versus words. I was focused more on being present and in the moment, because everything was so new. And instead of allowing the depression to take over when getting home, I asked myself, well, what can I do to curate that same energy that I felt living in Colombia? And then I had to kind of analyze my time in Colombia and differentiate the differences between what I had there and what I had here. And it was more community, more support. This is not a passion. I didn't get involved with the nonprofit work or caring about others. Just here in Colorado, it's a way of life, no matter where I'm at.
You said you moved from California to Colombia?
So I'm from California.
Yeah.
When I was a young girl, we moved to Las Vegas, my family and I. My grandfather was in show business. He was the opening act at the Debbie Reynolds Hotel when that existed. That's not around anymore. Long live Debbie Reynolds. That was a good friend of the family. And my mom and dad decided to move to Colorado in 2012. So Phil and we followed them out here. And Phil died in Colorado. And I was, that's when I was doing the energy brokerage and the solar. So I left from Colorado to Colombia.
Gotcha.
And when I came back from Colombia, I came back to Colorado.
Okay.
My family is no longer here. My dad passed away in 2022. There was a lot of lessons around my dad's passing as well. He kind of just dropped dead at 55. But I watched my dad consume himself with the idea that he was okay, because financially he was okay. But there was all that trauma that he was suppressing from childhood. And it just bled through, and it took him out. So losing a life partner, Phil, and then my dad, who was very hands-on in raising myself and my siblings, there was just too many signs that you cannot treat life like a game of chess. Even though I'm really good at chess, that's not how it was designed. We're not supposed to. Life is not a game. So no matter where I live, if I'm in Colorado, California, overseas, I wake up every day with one goal, and that's to be the best version of myself before God, not before what society teaches us that looks like.
What's up? Speaking of which, what was like some of your earliest entrepreneur jobs that you had? Like, when did you start working for Natasha BarShalom?
Well, the entrepreneur side of myself, I actually would like to give credit to the streets. Prior to the breakthrough, when Phil and I were dating, especially when we were in Las Vegas or in California, because we went back and forth, and Texas, I was a street girl. I was, he was a D-boy. I was the plug. So I had a lot of relationships to where if you need it, I got it, no matter if it was serving good or serving bad. And, I was also in the sex business for a while, not myself, but I was in charge of an escort service in Las Vegas. So again, my mom and dad, my dad was a business owner, but he kept his business really outside of how he raised us. But even him, the way he moved, just watching how he maneuvered through life, I think I learned some skill sets through him. And then definitely the streets. There's beauty in the streets. When you are in a position where your back is up against the wall, structure, discipline, dedication is kind of forced into place. It's something that you tap into without even having to think about it because you have no choice. And that's really where I gained the entrepreneurship energy. I was a ninth grade dropout, never went and got my diploma or GED, never went to college. My dad, I was actually raised in a household where my dad wanted us to have nothing to do with school. A lot of people knew him as like a conspiracy theorist. He was very, very smart man, and he saw things for what it was. And, here in the United States, school is a great way to program us. There's not much that we're learning in school that benefit us once we're out of school and we're trying to make it in life.
Exactly.
It's a lot deeper than the surface level that they try to keep it at. And my dad saw that at a young age. My younger brother, David, he is 22 and he's never been to school. He did do some homeschool until he reached like middle school. But then after that, he just learned how to be a man through my mom and dad, and he's an incredible young man. He actually just got hired for a drilling/mining company. He's only had one job. He excelled at that job, which was a car wash, and got promoted twice. And he just put in his 2-week notice and is getting ready to fly out on the 3rd, which I think is Monday, to go to Utah to start training for drilling, which, if he sticks it out, he's looking at $200,000 to $300,000 a year. And that's someone that's never stepped foot in a school. So that I just wanted to bring that up as an example. But yeah, entrepreneurship comes from lived experience and the streets, poverty, hustling, being cornered, having your back against the wall and not really having a choice but to figure it out.
No, I feel it. Yeah, so people know you as like an advocate, an entrepreneur, author, organizer, and a storyteller. What title truly defines who you are inside your head? Like, who do you want people to see you as, or just an accumulation of all of those titles?
A child of God, a disciple, a woman that has a testimony and will not allow the enemy to put anything in my way, keeping me from telling it. A lover, someone that sees and has witnessed multiple times before that fire does not put out fire. And someone has to be willing to take it to the chin for the greater good of the people. But yeah, that's who I am. Natasha BarShalom, baby, it's in the name.
Okay. One second. So, other than this interview, have you spoken publicly about experiencing deep emotional pain and housing instability. And what's it called? How have those experiences changed the way that you understood people who were struggling?
Yes. Have I spoken publicly? A lot of times.
Okay.
Shout out CBS News Denver. Shout out 9 News Denver. Shout out Denver 7 News. Shout out Denver Right. Shout out the Westward Magazine. I have live publication from Speaking Up on Immigration. I have live publication speaking up on houselessness, substance abuse, resources. I actually did a 2-week project and slept in a tent on Colfax with the houseless to conduct a survey to prove to the people that it is not a lack of resources. Again, we are designed by God. We are super heroes. We have abilities to change the world, each one of us. And when you are faced with rock bottom, when you are on your knees, the body and mind will take over without you even having to put intention into it. The houseless community, those struggling with substance abuse, those struggling with anxiety, PTSD, it is not due to a lack of monetary resources, but more so a lack of being a part of community. I saw it firsthand moving to a quote unquote third world country. I was among people that did not have technology in their home, did not have running hot water, did not have a vehicle. And on a daily basis, they projected love and bliss and had peace. And that's really where the event that we're getting ready to host, Winning Wednesday, came about. I am tired of everyone around me being convinced that success or legacy or your purpose on this planet is correlated with how much money you have in the bank. Has nothing to do with it. And this is why we see so many people suffering, because that's not what it's about. We have to acknowledge that we are the currency. We are the value. If you think about it, you go to a job, you get paid when you do your job. So if you take away the payment and you acknowledge the energy exchange of what's happening there, we would have less suffering. We would have less people on drugs. If there was more people willing to acknowledge this understanding, people would be more willing to share resources. People would be more willing to give because they're not being held back by fear that they're unable to do certain things because it takes away from what they have going on. Again, another reason why so many people are suffering, because we are being manipulated.
Speaking
collectively.
of which, what do you think is the best route to take to kind of get people out of that manipulation of thinking only one way, that if I don't have what I want in life, it's because so-and-so has taken resources from getting me to where I need to be? How do we stop that way of thinking in this society? How do we shift that kind of mindset?
Less talking, more action. Everyone is quick to grab their phone and record someone getting drugged under a car, passing away, getting beat up. But why aren't we grabbing the phone, providing proof that miracles happen daily when you have God in your life? When you understand that we were promised abundance, that we are reaping the fruits already, there's nothing to be chasing. We need more people to promote and showcase that these things are happening constantly on a daily basis, every single day. It's not, I am not God, but I am created in that image. So the only thing I can do is acknowledge those that I encounter and allow my heart to be seen. Allow it takes each one of us to kind of step away from the lies. I don't know how many conversations I have on a daily basis. There's a lot of people that agree and understand, but they're not willing to truly step into it. And in my opinion, that's the problem. We have to be willing to be risk takers. We have to acknowledge that if you close your eyes and you think about the most horrific situation that you've ever been in, think about when you got out of it. All those times people are served eviction notices, people are, don't have money to feed themselves. I can guarantee you, if you're honest with yourself, even when you didn't think you were going to be able to eat, you eat. Even when you think that you're going to be put out of your home, something happens and you're not. Or you're put out of your home and you experience things that teach you from ever going through that again. Like sometimes rock bottom is necessary. People have to be more about it. There's all this tough man energy, right? Everyone's promoting being a baddie and real gangsta-like. But when have you taken it to the chin? Or is it, putty backbone, when shit hits the fan, you crawl in under a rock and you're not around when shit hits the fan? We need less of that energy. We need more disciples stepping into their role, because the word did not die hundreds of years ago. God's presence is very much still alive. And yeah, it's something that not just one person could tackle, but at the same time, each one of us consciously and intentionally on a daily basis, working extremely hard to surrender and keep our hearts open, has a domino effect. And eventually it will play its course.
Backtracking a little bit, when you was going through your transition back into Colorado from Colombia, did you have anyone helping you out or mentoring you during that time to help you kind of?
Oh, absolutely not. You know who did? The houseless. Unfortunately, I don't know how to be alone, right? And a lot of people know me as a girl that has trauma, that hasn't been healed, and I'm a people pleaser and I'm looking for validation. No. When Phil passed away, I instantly put myself in another relationship. And that relationship, I experienced domestic violence. I experienced abuse, and that was happening here when I got back from Colombia, right? So when I'm going through those things, there was no one to call, or the people that I did have to call, my friends and family, which I love dearly, and I don't hold anything I'm about to say against them. But again, the scarcity, the energy of fear was very much in play. And what I was going through was too much for them to take on more than a couple minutes of empathy. And then, okay, I got to get back to work. I'll let you go. And I found myself gravitating towards the streets once again, whether it was in the projects or if it was sitting at the bus stop having a 5-hour conversation with the houseless. When you are dealing with individuals that are damn near on the ground, there's only one way to go, which is up. And there's an energy that they embody and that they carry that provides peace. So the mentors in my life, same thing with how I gained entrepreneurship skill set, is from the streets, from the broken people, from the disciples.
Very nice. Speaking of which, what was the first community event you organized here in Colorado?
Vision board events.
Vision board events. Tell me a little bit about it.
So I partnered with Haley Sunshine's absolutely amazing, phenomenal friend of mine who has been an entrepreneur since she was 16. She has a thrift clothing store. She also makes beautiful jewelry. She's recently turned her jewelry business into something even more creative. She now takes live plants and flowers and turns those into beautiful pieces that are wearable. And God had a plan for us to meet, and we met. Next thing we know, we're talking about our love of vision boarding. Vision boarding became a pivotal part of my healing journey because I realized when I was in Colombia, emotional attachment, and that we're triggered through our senses. So when you have memories attached to a scent or a place that you could see or something you could feel, if you encounter those triggers, you're gonna project, there's gonna be emotions felt. So having a vision board routine for myself on a monthly basis allowed me to kind of deal with emotions, and we saw growth happening within our own lives and decided to invite others to do the same thing for themselves.
Very cool.
So we hosted vision board events for about a year. I wish my mom was here in Colorado because she has all my vision boards, but every single one of my vision boards embodies what's happening today with, Winning Wednesday, getting ready to relaunch, becoming a board member of the Risk Takers Youth Initiative, the people behind Risk Takers Youth Initiative and their stories and how they align with my walk of life. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Can you tell me a little bit? We'll get to Winning Wednesday in a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit about KOSM Triggered Futures Begin?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me say KOSM Triggers Futures Begin. Butcher that.
Yes. So that's funny. And again, there's going to be another full circle moment, and you'll recognize it right away, especially since you're a part of the team. So I came back from Colombia. COVID was going on, right?
Yeah.
And when COVID was going on, a lot, again, backs against the wall, people feel like they don't have an option. You were forced into being an entrepreneur because of fear, right? Which is why we need the negative too. The whole reason why God created Lucifer, because it's a part of the plan. You need it. But everyone was making shirts, right? Everyone started a merch company. So I go out and I'm not going to lie, I was a recipient of a PPP loan, and I go out and I buy all the stuff to create shirts. And at first it was Successful Minds was the name of it. Okay. And I wanted to come up with a positive apparel line where when you purchase merch, you are educated on the triggers behind the clothing, right? Think about big brands like Nike or Air Jordan. Air Jordan is a perfect example of triggers, right? All the kids wanted to be like Michael Jordan. Everyone wanted to be a basketball player. There was emotional attachment there. And then boom, they hit you with a product. And they bring out Jordan shoes. And they got the Jordan, the Jordan symbol, the jump man. And when you put those shoes on, you were like Jordan, is how they marketed that brand.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it, Jordan is charging $300, $400, $500, $600 for shoes that already exist. They're just coming out with a different color.
Yeah.
Because businesses in the world that we live in, they use the proof. They put out commercials, they put out marketing, they get a response, they see the emotional attachment works, and then they use that ammo against you. So Successful Minds was going to be a positive apparel where when you purchase a shirt that is black with certain symbols on it, you would receive a info card that would let you know how the color black influences you, what those symbols mean, and how they influence you. Because being a girl that grew up on set from Hollywood, family being in show business and entertainment, and then my lived experience, and then also being a sales guru, I'm top sales rep, every company I've ever worked for. It was very easy to see that we're manipulated. There's manipulation through the design of humans, and we are emotional beings. We feel things based off of our senses, again, based off of what we see, based off of what we hear, based off of what we feel. So they use that to their advantage. Why are we making these brands $1 billion establishments? For what? What is the mission or cause behind the merch? So I wanted to create a company where you knew what you were a part of, the mission behind the brand, and you also take your control back. So you're not dropping $600 on a pair of shoes that you have in the closet 3 times already. They're just a different color and they got an extra hole added to the shoe. Like, it's crazy to me. I learned quickly that making shirts is tedious. Using that cry cut machine is not as easy as YouTube wanted to make it look. And I said, enough with that. And I got really into books. And there was a book that I read that was talking about cosmic cycles or something. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were constantly talking about the beauty of like collaboration, people coming together and sharing their skill set and resources. And that's when I came up with the acronym of KOSM, which means knowledge of successful mindsets. So pretty much saying whether it's merch, whether it's a movement, whether it's a product, no matter what it is, the people behind this brand and the knowledge we carry is what's going to make it successful. So KOSM is an acronym for knowledge of successful mindsets, pretty much saying that what we are successful at comes from the collective, not just one person. And Triggered Futures is me pretty much claiming over my life that, you know, a lot of people think of.
You was talking about knowledge of successful mindset, and then you was about to explain to me what Triggered Future begins means. Yes.
So Triggered Futures for me is really just embodying that I've been through some shit. I can't run from it. I'm going to be triggered. And instead of allowing those triggers to take me out, use the ammo to my advantage. So Triggered Futures is pretty much saying, I'm ready for it. You know, like triggers and all, the future is going to be bright.
Okay. Speaking of future, let's get on to the next big project, Winning Wednesday. Take us back to the beginning. What was the original idea for Winning Wednesday, and like how did you come up with it?
Again, lived experience. So I grew up in a household where image was a big topic of discussion, from the way we looked to the way we carried ourselves to money being in the bank. And I am a tad bit judgmental. As I stated, when I got back from Colombia and I fell into that depression, I was successful at committing suicide. I was gone for 1 minute and 36 seconds. I spent some time in a mental hospital. I was told that I had manic depression and PTSD. I think it was different letters that's not military related. I don't know. And I made a decision that was not it. But it's okay.
That's okay.
Sounds like you and I talking.
It is you and I talking. Trying to figure out where it's coming. Okay. Done. Jeez, okay. Hello.
So Winning Wednesday was curated because of judgment, negative judgment at that. I do care what people think about me and what people say about me. And when I was going through those dark days, I was hanging out with the houseless because I felt seen there. I felt valued. I felt a part of community. But I didn't want my image to be fucked with, really. So I asked myself, one, I know that I need a lot of support right now. I know that I need to feel like I'm a part of something. And from what I'm getting from the people that I kept gravitating towards, broken people, people struggling with substance, living on the streets, I curated an event where we could all be together. We could all lay everything out on the table and we could feel the presence of God. I don't really know. That's really how it started, to be honest. I didn't wake up one day and was like, I want to save the people in Denver. It was more so, I want to save myself. And I'm not okay with that paperwork, that diagnosis. I'm not broken. I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to take the tranquilizer that you prescribed me to go to bed. I'm not going to take Xanax to deal with my emotions. I love that I could feel. I don't want to become numb. And I wanted to kick it with the people that made me feel good. So I came up with an event where we could feel good. It was small at first. I shared the idea with a friend of mine that I was living with at the time, Barb. And Winning Wednesday was created. When
did you do the first Winning Wednesday?
In February of 2022.
Okay, so how many have you done since then?
Over 300 Winning Wednesdays.
Crazy.
Yeah, at first it was just, okay, well, if I want to hang out with the houseless, I have to get something to encourage the masses to come out and kick it with me. So we put a call out to the community. I put a call out to the community asking for food to be present. And we brought in clothing donations, and it was kind of just a powwow. We drove, like the events would be hosted wherever there were houseless people. And then God started providing more and more vessels that wanted to be a part of it. Miracles started happening in my life around the time Winning Wednesday was curated, and I was using social media to showcase God intervening and taking charge. People saw that and wanted to get involved in that embodiment. And after our 6th Winning Wednesday, I was nominated as a Denver hero. and we were on the news with Denver 7. And it went from an event of like 35 people to 136 people. And then it just grew and grew and grew. So at Winning Wednesday now, when it first started, it was just food and clothes, giving them a reason to want to hang out with us. And getting people that are not houseless comfortable with hanging out with the houseless, because I saw beauty in that. I saw vulnerability. I saw humiliation. I saw less ego. And I feel like people that are not houseless, that think they have it all together because they have a job and they have a roof over their head and they think it's, done there, that they're still growing, and there's still need for us to be better versions of ourselves. Like I said, God intervened, and now we offer haircuts and massage. We've had acupuncturists out there. We've had the STI truck doing, STI testing. We've offered IDs through the DMV mobile service, free phones. Winning Wednesday is an event where there is a lot of giving back and there's no money being spent. So I put a lot of time and thought and intention in how we market the event, and get people to show up with their heart open, and it's just growing.
Speaking of like the beginnings, in your first event, who was like the people that attended? How did you get them out there? Like, what did you do to market your very first Winning Wednesday?
I hosted gatherings at our house at that time. Again, I was living with Barb, and Miriam came aboard, who does the massages, and Celebrity Cuesta, the chef Cuesta, got involved and brought food, and OG Pack got involved and brought food, and Caesar the barber came out, and we just started talking about it. And we would pull up to encampments. So pretty much a street that's known to have multiple houseless individuals living on that street. We did 2 or 3 on the streets. And then we ended up having our first collaboration with the Colorado Village Collaborative, which is a tiny home community. So we hosted Winning Wednesday at their location. We then went into Urban Peak, which is a youth shelter here in Denver, hosted an event there. Then we took it to 14th and Bannock, which has a known event that already happens there every Monday called Mutual Aid Monday. They're doing something very similar, a lot of giving back. I love the work that they do, but I also have volunteered with them. The one thing that differentiates us from a lot of the nonprofits that are giving back is our focus is not what we're giving back, but it's more so about being with the people. So we don't do assembly lines, feeding the houseless. Everyone there is eating. That way we're inviting those that have accepted or have been told that they're broken and a lost cause. That's not the case. When I was volunteering at multiple different nonprofits, standing in that line to get food that was being given, to me was very similar to standing in the chow line in jail. The people serving the food barely make eye contact with you. They're covered in like biohazard suits. They're slopping the food onto your tray. And when you think about the subconscious mind, it's a degrading process. Clothing donations, allowing individuals to go through bags of clothes to look for a shirt with an audience of people, that is subconsciously degrading. It reminded me of being a young girl that's getting ready to start the first day of high school, and I'm wearing my cousin's hand-me-downs. It just doesn't make you feel the best. So at Winning Wednesday, we put together a storefront. We'll have people there where the clothing donations are to help you the same way you would be addressed walking into a clothing store. You know, people ask if you want help, let me help you put an outfit together. So it's really just wanting to see people be treated better. There's a lot of ugliness in the world, intentionally and non-intentionally. We're afraid of what we don't know. I don't know how many friends that I've been in the car with where if we pull up to the gas station and there's houseless people in the parking lot, they lock the door, they want to go to another gas station. I think they're beautiful because what I see is that they're not hiding from their circumstances. It's hitting you in the face, where there's people I know that got money in the bank, they drive a car, they got a roof over their head, they have a job, but they struggle with substance abuse. They cry themselves to sleep every night, but they're putting on a facade. Not saying that there's no good in the world, but I've had too much fake it till you make it energy being in the sales world. I just want people to be more real. And that's something I really appreciate in the houseless community and even in neighborhoods of poverty.
Yeah. So in Win Wednesday, you got conventional resources fair or food distribution program. Wait, looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. It was important for you to combine food, clothing, toiletry, grooming, storytelling, vision boards, meditation, music, and dancing. Why was that necessary for you to include all of those things into your Winning Wednesday?
Because these are all things that make us feel good. When you're present and you're not in survival mode and you can create, or you could dance, or you could relate to music, or you get a fresh haircut and you feel better about yourself, it just allows us to be better versions of ourselves. So having all of that in one place for 4 hours while Winning Wednesday is happening, there's less human suffering going on. And we could put that aside. And the goal is to have you walk away from the event really having those aha moments where you felt God's presence without having to be preached.
What did you get to experience or observe with the volunteers and the unhoused community for like the first time integrating with each other? What was your main takeaways from when it happened?
I was pissed and I was ready to call people out. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
Because I had people that came and they gave back, but that's all that happened. They brought what they said they were going to bring, and they were tunnel vision and focused on what they were bringing, and there was no true encountering. There was no ego being put aside. There was, okay, for instance, right? If I'm promoting on social media that we're hosting an event and everyone is invited, and there's going to be free food, there's going to be free entertainment, there's going to be free resources, people are going to come out houseless or not, right? But what I saw was the people that are presenting themselves to be a giver and having their shit together and possibly judging those that are broken or houseless or struggling with substance or gangbanging or whatever the case may be. They were the first one in line to get the food. They were the first one to do what they were going to do and get in their car and leave. They were the first one to take advantage of every resource and dip out and still go on social media and promote it like they just did this great deed because they brought out 100 toothbrushes. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that you brought out 100 toothbrushes. Thank you very much. That's appreciated. But why is it that those that are houseless or those that are broken or whatever the case may be are the ones waiting for everyone to eat before they eat, offering to break down tables, offering to help me put clothes on the hangers, on the clothing rack, encountering other people, not staying in the clique that they came with. Like, the people that were supposed to be serving were doing more serving than the people that were quote unquote serving. And honestly, it had a lot to do with why I took a year off and we're getting ready to relaunch it. It's not that I don't appreciate those that got involved. A lot of the people that I mentioned will be there on the 5th, but some of the people had to go.
Yeah.
Because some of those people were just highlighting why this event has to continue. Because we have to chip away at the walls that we build up. We have to stop faking it till we make it. We have to stop constantly putting ourselves in a position to, the only focus is getting our ego stroked. Like, the fact that individuals went home and went to sleep like a baby in a comfy bed because they felt like they just did the greatest thing by bringing a donation. But then I have individuals that had their heart wide open, gave hugs, laughed, smiled, helped, didn't even eat, even though the food was really brought out. The food is out there for everybody, but if anyone logically looking, if you have people that are houseless and there's people that are not houseless, who would you think would eat first? And the fact that I still had people in those circumstances going home, questioning if they did enough, really bothers me.
That's not what Winning Wednesday was supposed to embody. I get you.
Yeah, but again, it is supposed to embody that. That's why God has placed it in my heart to include everybody. Because I could very easily go and do what I was doing before, spending hours at Samaritan House and the Gathering Center and the Dream Center and the Lifeline Building and the Colorado Village Collaborative. And I could host something with 3 or 4 people and give back to the houseless. I strategically do a lot of marketing and pushing for those that are not houseless, because a lot of us collectively, if we're thinking about people as a collective, not just one individual at a time, everyone needs to be tapped at. Like, this is exactly what I'm pointing out is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Accountability needs to happen. Checking yourself needs to happen. Humiliation needs to happen. Uncomfortability needs to happen. Winning Wednesday is not a celebration. There has been Winning Wednesdays where there was drama or chaos because it needs to happen. That's how you grow. That's how we become the true vessels that we are, which is gods and goddesses.
What does it mean, like, break down the name winning when it comes to dealing with homelessness, grief, addiction, mental illness? Why did you choose the name winning?
Your circumstances don't define who you are or what you're capable of. When my husband passed away, I had $207,000 in the bank. I was killing the game, and I was attempting suicide every other day. Your current circumstances does not define what you are capable. To be successful is to gain something you are aiming for. I'm aiming for internal peace. My name, Natasha BarShalom, I changed my name legally to embody and claim that over my life. BarShalom in Hebrew means God's peace. I'm not chasing a bag. I'm not chasing a lifestyle. I'm not chasing a reputation. I care what people think, but then again, I don't. because God is pleased. And my life, I reap the fruits of God's promise on a daily basis because my heart is open and I allow God to lead. And for me, God is the frequency of love. Love always wins. It always conquers. And that's what a winner is understanding that. Being a winner is to acknowledge that successful mindsets come from the masses. You're not just born successful. There were vessels and people that you encountered in your story that brought you to that. So why can't we be more okay with collective projects, collective movements, village energy?
Exactly. Bring communities together.
The way it's supposed to be.
How do you prevent Winning Wednesday feeling from a place that like people can be judged or like people are treated unfairly? How do you go about protecting the community from that?
Honestly, God, I'm going to be honest with you, because again, I appreciate the pain and the dark days more than I do the not. So if there's judgment, if there's things that are taking place at Winning Wednesday that feel uncomfortable, that is excellent. At the end of the day, it's God's work that is being done, and there's nothing to be afraid of. We could take on whatever comes, because I am very confident and positive that nothing that would put someone in danger or in harm's way would take place when there's this type of frequency happening. But then again, I am known for grabbing that microphone and putting people on the spot and calling shit out as I observe it. I'm not really worried about offending people. You're either going to see it and you're going to align and you're going to become a better version of yourself because of it. I'm going to become a better version, or you won't attend the next one. And that's fine too.
Okay.
We will have security though.
Speaking of the next one, yeah, just tell people when the next Winning Wednesday is.
August 5th, Curtis Park, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. See you there, or you are square.
Okay, you already know. Winning Wednesday grew rapidly. What was your first realization that you was becoming a part of a bigger structure?
When I had the mayor and city council members pull me aside and tell me I had a nonprofit organization. I never got into this work wanting to become a nonprofit. This is my own personal journey. I really don't put a lot of time, focus, or energy in what it's becoming. I more so put time, energy, and focus in continuing to be the best version of myself, rebuking fear or the enemy when I feel that presence, and keeping my head up and moving forward. And what is meant to happen will happen.
Okay. Outside of the interview, I know it's coming up to 6 o'clock. What would you like to do? I still got to ask you questions about risk takers. And then I was gonna ask you about what your current business organizational status is of each thing that you're doing, like coming up in the future with KOSM and Winning Wednesday and risk takers. And then I was gonna ask you, what do you want people to take away from the interview? So we got like 15 more minutes, you know?
All right, let's do 15 more minutes because I don't want.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay. So first thing I wanted to ask is, is, what are, other than Winning Wednesday, what are some of your future endeavors? What are all of your businesses looking like right now? What's the next thing that you got coming up in the future?
Well, I've recently become a board member of the Risk Takers Youth Initiative, which I'm super excited and ready to celebrate, because my God is amazing at filling the void. And as we stated earlier in the interview, I am someone that has experienced infertility. I appreciate and acknowledge the power of innocence and what children and the youth carry. And I cannot wait for the youth to be a big part of hosting Winning Wednesday moving forward. Pertaining to my business ventures, again, and I have a lot of people in my ear telling me I need to work on this mindset, but I don't put time and focus on that. I'm a girl that has completely surrendered her life to God. There are times when the enemy comes into play and I might be taken out of, commission for a minute, but I always go back. My life is abundant. I'm not over here trying to think about what the next business idea is or how could I become successful. I'm successful. I'm gaining what I'm aiming for, and I aim for peace. I aim for my heart to remain open. I aim for accountability over my own life and my actions and how I make people feel. I want people when I cross over and I'm no longer here, I want people to remember me for the way I made them feel, not for what I bought them or a good night out on the town. So just know that when you see or hear Natasha BarShalom, I'm aiming for peace, not a work venture.
Okay.
I'm a steward here on this earth. So whatever God has planned, that's probably the route I'm going to end up being on, even if I, got to make a U-turn.
When did you first become connected with the Risk Takers Youth Initiative, and talk about that first interaction and connection?
Shout out to my man, Devin Copeland, aka Young Quick. Our relationship is definitely not a coincidence. I felt it the second we met that we encountered one another based off God's plan for both of our futures individually as people. We are in a relationship, so there's a partnership here, but he recently went to jail and I miss him. So I found myself kind of gravitating towards his scene and the people he's around. And I was invited to a Trey Funk music video shoot at Void Studio. And I really didn't know why I was going, because I don't typically go to music video shoots, regardless if I got a bigger behind or not. I've been asked multiple times to partake in certain things, and it's just not my thing. But Spirit told me to go, and I met Quincy. And there wasn't much that happened at the music video shoot with Quincy and I. We barely even spoke. I was scrolling on social media a few days after that encounter, and I saw him post something, and I'm like, bro, I know this. Like, I just felt very drawn to him. And I told him that. I was like, not on no weird stuff. Like, I'm in a relationship, you're married, but I feel like drawn to you. And I remember seeing you at another event, and like, I have dreams, right? Dreams of premonition. And that's a whole nother episode. But I've seen him in a dream. And I told him that. And we ended up talking about Winning Wednesday. He mentioned the risk takers. And then
The rest
here we are today. It was very organic. Again, God's in charge over here, baby. So
what are your responsibilities as a vice president and director of community programs?
To remain present, eliminate distractions so that I could be a leader, so that I can continue to curate events that will serve the community, and also invite our youth in leading powerful curations, because I feel like the world needs it. There's a lot of talk and spotlight on the way our YNs carry themselves, our youth carry themselves, that they're like causing chaos and they're like doomed, and I don't see it as so. And my role is to provide a platform to invite the youth into keeping their heart open and allowing their innocence to lead. And just really honestly, my role is to keep that relationship with God tight so that things could keep going according to God's plan.
What are some of the most urgent challenges that you find affecting the young people you serve?
Lack of guidance due to lack of guidance unintentionally. Whether there's mom and dad in the home, just mom, just dad. The average person in the United States of America is chasing a bag or in survival mode, and it's draining. And it takes parents away from truly being present in raising their children. They're provided for, they have shelter, they're going to school, but it's not as hands-on as it needs to be. And that's something, it's going to take cities and states across the United States of people getting involved and understanding what it's going to truly take. We're at a spiritual warfare right now. That's why no matter what you log into, it's a topic of discussion that we're at the end times. This is happening, that is happening. They know that fear the masses of the people that run this country know that fear works. They keep projecting us with fear. The parents showcase that fear to children that are naturally fearless and radiate more in the frequency of love, and they're being told to hush. So me joining the Risk Takers Youth Initiative, bringing Winning Wednesday through this channel, having the youth involved, it's just a way for us to provide more support to adults to be better for our youth. That's how we started. We started as humans living amongst the land and with each other. People, again, they constantly want to talk about, well, is the dad in the home? Is the mom in the home? It takes a village to raise one child. And right now, most parents, most adults, again, are either chasing a lifestyle or really weighed down by trying to survive.
What do you want a youth to gain from the Risk Taker Youth Initiative in about a 6-month time period or year? Like, what do you want their main takeaway from the program to be?
That they're amazing. To not let go of their innocence. To not want to grow up so fast. To pay attention to your environment and the adults around you and take note of it. Don't, to acknowledge that You have to be intentional. You have to know what you're aiming for, because that's where true success comes from. You can't gain something that you're aiming for if you don't even know what you're aiming for. And that's the actual definition of successful, is to gain something you're aiming for. There's nowhere in the dictionary that says being successful means you have multiple businesses or you have a buku amount of money in the bank. You could be successful and have negative $28 in your bank. You could be successful and be going bankrupt. It all depends on knowing what you want for yourself, putting goals into place, and doing what it takes to get there. So success for me versus success for you looks different, and just making sure that the youth understands that, and to not go after someone else's success story.
All right. Natasha, after everything we've discussed, I want to do a little speed round. We got about 2.5 minutes left on the call. I'm going to ask you some questions. Give me rapid fire, all right? Give me a full rundown of everything that you currently want people to know about. Real quick, go ahead.
All right. I'm Natasha BarShalom. Winning Wednesday is back and at it, starting August 5th at Curtis Park. It is a quarterly event. We will change up locations. We're going into neighborhoods of poverty, one event at a time, building hope. Check out my book that's on Amazon and eBay. Look in the mirror and remind yourself that you are a winner and that you are capable of achieving anything you put your mind towards. And I love you.
Okay. Where can people learn about Risk Takers Youth Initiative?
RiskTakersYouthInitiative.org, baby.
Okay. How can parents or young people become involved in these programs?
By logging into RiskTakersYouthInitiative.org and hitting the different links depending on whether you want your kids to enroll, whether you want to make a donation, whether you want to get involved in our upcoming sweepstakes. More info coming with that here soon. Get on that website. Check us out.
Where can people find more information about Winning Wednesday? And
Natasha BarShalom across all platforms, baby. Okay. Whether you're looking at YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Natasha BarShalom, you're coming to me.
How can someone volunteer, mentor, donate, sponsor an event, provides professional services?
Again, you can slide in my DM and I'm going to send you to the website, or you could just go directly to the website. Again, RiskTakersYouthInitiative.org.
Yeah, Natasha, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview today.
No. Thank you, Conarly.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for opening up about your journey and letting the people know a little more about yourself and giving some insight to what makes you so awesome.
Thank you. You're awesome too.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
See you soon.
See you soon. You take it easy.
Okay, question really quick.